Luke, use the paw, Luke. Yes, kitty, use the paw. May the 4th be with you. Everything Star Wars today. I'll try to talk like Alec Guinness. Look at the paw, kitty. Look at the paw. You're clawing my toe. May the 4th be with you. Yes, it's May 4th, 2023. No, his name's not Luke. It's Edmund, the cat, also known as Edmund Tuxedo, Cassavetes. He's an original, black and white kitty, tuxedo cat. Look at that kitty. Look, and this is what I do. I go to the bathroom to escape. He goes here too to have private time. Sorry about the toenail. Point and point and point and point and point and point. Let me swoop this way. There he goes. He's really getting excited. If I lay here and meditate, he'll try to claw at me when I do my transcendental sit-ups. If you call that meditation. Oh yeah, he's really going now. Look at that. Look at that kitty. He's really going. Come on, kitty. Yes, you are. Yes, you bird. Look at that little kitty. Yes, you be your little baby kitty. Are these little love scratches? May the 4th be with you, Edmund. Tuxedo. Cassavetes. I need to. What happens is the clay they put down mounts the dust, so it just kind of sticks to the clay. This place has no filter, so if I sweep this place, it just all of the dust just returns the next day. It's how it is. I don't know. The only filter I have is the filter that's in the bedroom. Look at that paw. It's pink and black. All right, kitty. You're staying in the bathroom while I do my sit-ups in the living room because you claw my toes. So, down you go. Heel, Edmund. Hang out here for a while. I'll come get you in a minute. Here. Have some water. Come on. That's how he gets his water sometimes. There we go. Come on, you can try it. You can get it. Come on. Fresh water. do you think about it? Gotta hurry up before the copyright kicks in. I don't know if they'll recognize this part though. Before his voice gets in there, because it'll be copyright. You're on a diet, Edmund. All right, kitty. It's your job to hold down the fort. You have your scratching post, your whale shark tunnel, and other wonderful things to play with, like that feather duster that I don't want you to go that high. Watch out for that room back there. That means don't go back there. And the bathroom. I prefer you not go through there. Got it? What's your license plate again? The exact same license plate I saw yesterday. RMK 6668. You know, 666 is an imaginary number. It was given to represent Nero, or the number of Nero, which meant basically X. It just meant, you know, blank was a nonsense number. Doesn't mean anything. 176,175 miles on the speedometer. We're dealing with 82 degrees Fahrenheit. It is May 4, 2023, as in May the 4th be with you. Now that we're talking about Star Wars and May the 4th be with you, I wanted to talk about taxes. So basically, you can write off almost everything as an actor. Your haircuts, your gas if you're going to the audition, if you got to go to rehearsals. I got this as a reminder to pay a bill. And all kinds of things. You can write off everything. So how does that work if you're doing a 1099? Now, I think in some of the cases, if you're paid by a company, like let's say WB or Touchstone, if they're still around, or Castle Rock, if they're still around, Apple Movies or Netflix, or whatever it may be, I think you sign on to like a W-2. And that changes things, because if the corporation is funding you and giving you money, you're no longer a 1099. So the write-off is different than the write-off on a 1099. Say I do delivery. My funds come when you get hungry and I drop food at your doorstep. I get funding, regardless of how I speak. Okay. So what that means is that when you write something off on your taxes, it's different on a 1099 than it is on a W-2. Because I have this tax consultant at HR Block named Emmy, and she talked about it. That spending and spending and spending and just going crazy with the spending while you have a business doesn't always benefit you if you're a 1099, right? If you have your own business, if you're the owner of your own business. If you're funded by a big corporation, let's say like Walt Disney World, and you're on a W-2 and you write off your taxes because it pertains to that business, or if you're a teacher, let's say, okay, and you're working for a school district and you write off your taxes because you're spending money while you're, being funded by the school. Same thing if you're a big movie star and you have to spend money to get there on set. It's different because I believe you fill out a W-2. I think I filled out a W-2 with I think it's called Cineflex or something like that, or Syntax or Cinex, Syntax is what it was, not syntax. That's for the English majors. Syntax or Synex or something like that. It's like central casting, but you fill out a W-2 and they tax it, and then they give you information. Basically, like, so you can file your own taxes. They give you back your W-2 or your W-2, but whatever it is, 1040, whatever the number is, when you file the taxes, they give you something back at the end of the year to file it. Just now realized that. And I also met some background artists there that they were making $300 a day, as opposed to someone like Brad Pitt, who was making like $300,000 a day or something, or like 30 or 40, $50,000 a day. I don't know exactly how much. You have to do the math. You take like 25 million and you subtract it by like 6 months or something if they only do one film. And 6 months, you would take 30 days, let's say roughly, because they get a few days off. You take the 30 days, you times it by 6, which is, I believe, 1,180 or something, 1,800 or something, 1,800 days or something. And then you times that, because sometimes they only work 6 months out of the year, and they make 25 million. That's how much you can find out how much they're making daily. I'm going to do that. So if a movie star works 6 months out of the year and makes $25 million that year, they make about $138,888 a day. They'll make $138,888 a day. A day. If they work that full 6 months. Kind of a lot, isn't it? There is Marty Leonard Chapel. Yo, I'll be going to Marty Leonard Chapel because it's a Lena Pope home. And it was created by E. Fay Jones. He was born in 1929. He studied under Frank Lloyd Wright, one of our greatest architects. That person's impatient. So is that person. No, I'm just joking. That person definitely is. They're okay. But that's Marty Leonard Chapel. It's a community chapel and a wedding chapel. It's beautiful. And Linda and I played the piano in there. One of the extras that paid me $50 to do this. That's the grandfather sitting around with the 2 daughters reading a book. Oh, I can't see it. There you go, filmmaker. There you go. Can you see it now? That's French toast. Cool. $138,888 a day for 1 day of work. That's what an actor makes in Hollywood for 1 day. So they're like, well, Mr. Brad Pitt or Jack Nicholson or, I don't know, a new actor that's out there. Anton Yelchin was probably on his way to making that before he got ran over by his own Ford Cherokee. Meaning it can be any of them. So when they show up, they will get $138,888 for that day. And they work them for 6 months or whatever. By the end of that year, they will have their $25 million. Now that's just average. Some of them get more. Nicholson's got more than that for a year worth. For 1 year worth of work, he got more than 25 million. So you think, man, I cleared $140,000 a year. They do it daily. May 4th. May the 4th be with you. If you are an actor, that's where you want to go. Margot Dean School of Ballet, at least a year. At minimum. It's 817-738-7915. You can go online, just go margotdeanballet.com. I took it there for off and on for a couple of years. You know, I'd have little sessions. But there's guys there that have taken it for 5 or 6 years. You start off young. Ballet is very important in any type of performance. You learn how to preserve movement and elongate movement. You learn the style of movement, the art of movement in ballet. And also, it was originally done for militant purposes. Ballet was invented because of fencing. It was a way to kind of make fencing into an art. So it's a militant thing as well, too. It's beautiful, too. And all the chicks are hot. That's why I'd always go. I'm like, man, these women are just incredible. Look at this right here, the skyline. Right there is W.E. Scott. We're at the 5 Points. I know it's Montgomery and Lancaster and Camp Bowie, but I have no idea why there's like 1 and then 2 and then 3. I guess, let's see, 1 and 2. Yeah, there's the 3. There's the 4, I guess 5. 1 and 2, 3, 4 and 5. It's a strange thing. Montgomery Street, West Lancaster are those two. You've got West Lancaster and then Camp Bowie. Okay, that'd be 4. And then you have just Camp Bowie. And that would be 5. Got it. Go this way. This is the theater way. It's kind of tricky because you're like, am I supposed to go this way? This is W.E. Scott. This is where I got started. There's the proscenium. My first memorized monologue was from Neil Simon. Yeah, it was a Neil Simon monologue from Lost in Yonkers. True story. And I did the monologue, and I didn't like it. And this lady that was watching it, she said, I love that monologue. And I loved how you did it. And it was just some lady that was in the class. And I thought, well, how and why would she like the monologue? It made me wonder. Because I just memorized it, you know? Look at this right here. Or was it Hello Dolly? I think it was Lost in Yonkers. It was Lost in Yonkers. There was another Hello Dolly one, though. It could have been Hello Dolly. Regardless, it was a monologue. That right there is Casa Manana. That's where they bring in all the Broadway shows. They're bringing in Miss Saigon right now. They're going to have it in June. And they also have High School Musical, which is going on. Miss Saigon and High School Musical. Johnny Simons dropped acid in there one time inside an open hip pocket theater. True story. Sorry about that, Johnny. He wrote about it. He wrote about it and published it in a news article. So what difference does it make? You know? They'll find the news article. He doesn't care. I've done it. I dropped acid. It's far out, man. It's like, man, I feel like Jack Nicholson. I'm gonna go all the way around. You know, it's like, it's crazy because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to eat, and this is what happens if you know anything about acting and going hungry. Eating is like the biggest deal to an actor, to eat food, yeah. And you'll get lost when you try to do it. There's a tattoo, dark age tattoo right there. My dad had a business over here called Diamond H, and they refined diamonds. True story. It was like right over here somewhere. The story about the television happened like right over here. So my dad wanted me to have a TV. I just wanted to read, like books. I was like, Dad, I'm just reading books, no television. So my dad goes, I want you to have this TV. And I was like, Dad, I don't need the television. I lived right over there where the Modern Art Museum is, right off Darnell. This was like in the mid-90s, 1995. About the same time Oklahoma bombing happened. Because I remember Oklahoma bombing. It's a flashbulb memory. And I was standing like right over there when I heard about it on the news. They said Oklahoma blew up. And I said, what? This is where it happened, where my dad gave me the television. It was like right over here where Diamond H was. I think it was right here. That's Diamond H. That was the old Diamond H. So my dad dropped the TV off like right here. And his car or his truck was right over there. He said, Cole, take the television. And then I had that little laser car. People don't know what a laser is, but it's like a laser's kind of like a neon Sentra kind of thing. I want to say it's similar to that. And he worked right here. And so it's not like a neon. It's not like a neon. It's like a sports car. There was a neon sports car that was similar. Those guys are like FBI. Because I saw the hat on their thing right here. Maybe they're faking it, I don't know. But anyway. So he was over there, and my dad said, look, keep the television. Keep the television. I said, no, Dad, no, I don't want the TV. I said, Dad, look, I'm just reading books right now. I don't want the television. He goes, keep the television. This is velvet box right here. I said, I don't want the TV. And he goes, he was almost mad. Take the television. I said, fine. So I grabbed the TV, I put it in my trunk, and that's when I watched all those episodes of David Letterman. Because David Letterman would come on every night and I only had an antenna. I was far from cable. I didn't have cable or anything like that. So I was like, okay, Dad, I'll take the television. I'll take the television. He worked somewhere right over here. And I just, I took the TV back to my apartment. I'm trying to tell the story, but the FBI just drove by. Or they had a hat that said FW something. I don't know what they were. Maybe they were just a bunch of punks. Anyway, it was right over, like I said, down this road, up this way to the right. I'll try to finish the story. It just seems like all the time there's some kind of authority figure with assault rifles. Did you know that there were guys with assault rifles that knocked on our door when Linda was there? Yeah. They had assault rifles and they knocked on our door. They were looking for someone that was running from them. Anyway, Dad gave me the television there. Finally, I said, Dad, okay, I'll take the TV. So I put the television in my trunk of the Laser. It's like a Chrysler. It's a Chrysler. Yes. They went out of business. Chrysler Laser. It was like a sports car. And I drove it down this way. And I remember I pulled up here because there were like small little bars and stuff like that over that way. And I parked the car probably, so I'm trying to figure out their layout. They were wooden apartments, basically wooden apartments. And the Modern Art Museum was not even constructed. And these apartments had been there since the 40s. They housed World War II soldiers. And they had wood floors. You could crawl underneath the apartment from the closet and crawl up into your neighbor's apartment if you wanted to. I always kept weights on my, trap door thing that was inside the closet. You could crawl underneath, the crawl space was underneath the apartment. You'd be like in sand or whatever.
underneath the apartment. You'd be like on soil or whatever from underneath the apartment and just crawl to anybody's apartment. It was crazy. Another guy from Wesleyan lived there too. Another actor from Wesleyan. He was more of a musical theater actor. I was more of a straight theater actor. Now, you would park, I think the road is about the same. You'd park like right here and walk right up to your apartment. Like a stoop. There'd be like a little staircase, and then I put the television in there. It was all wood floors. That's where we did True West, Act 1, Scene 1. Rob Vasquez and I, and Dana Schultz directed it. She did the videography on it because she used a video camera. Now it is on YouTube. Now it's a modern art museum, and we got a letter on our door saying we're turning your property into another property. You must leave and vacate the place. You have 30 days or something like that. We were like, what? So I moved over by the TCU area. I found a cheaper, well, it wasn't cheaper. It was a little more expensive place. It was a Spanish-style apartment, and they've changed it since. Over by where Jennifer Quarles used to live, right off Park something. The TCU area, Park University or Park something, I don't know. I'm sure she's parked somewhere crying, her eyes out. Cole Spivey did not give up, is what she's saying. This is Lancaster. We're going to turn here. We're going to find a gas station, and we're going to finally eat. It's 4:28. We're running behind, and this happens to me as an actor. I want to vlog how this happens to me. I get lost in the moments of things when I'm trying to eat. This is the Piano Pavilion right here. Piano Pavilion. It's done by an Italian architect. It's part of the Amon Carter, Will Rogers area. It's known as the Museum District. Okay, they do modern art there, but it's called the Piano Pavilion. This is Amon Carter. Okay, for all you film majors that if the camera's pointed, I have to speak about what I'm talking about, people. That's Amon Carter Museum of American Art, and that's Art Center, which is also known as W.E. Scott Theater. This is a great little area for an actor. You'd be crazy. You'd be absolutely crazy if you were an actor in this area and you didn't take advantage of all of this. I was raised on all of this. It's hard to leave behind because it's a beautiful life. There's the Trinity Lutheran Church right there. I remember whenever I took acting classes there were a bunch of weirdos in my class. And one guy was very hyper nasal. And the teacher said, I gotta give you this children's story about a mouse. I remember, and the guy talked like this. And the teacher had done a Big Red commercial. It was a national. That means it goes throughout the whole nation on all the televisions, from New York to California to Florida, back to Maine, back to Texas. Like, everybody saw this Big Red commercial. So she was a big star. John Cusack's going to be somewhere over around this way this summer. Anyway, she was a big star. And this guy, he talked like this. She goes, I got to give you this children's story. You play this dormouse in it. He's like, okay. It was like Alice in Wonderland kind of thing. And he read the children's story. It was great. She goes, you got to do this. You got to stay in acting. Everyone there wanted you to be an actor. If you had a flaw, that was your advantage. The more flaws you had, the better. They were way ahead of their times. Way ahead of their times. You had a flaw, that was good. They saw your flaw, they acknowledged it, and then you moved forward past your flaw. And you continued acting. It was a great acting class. We started with stage combat, and then we moved into like dramatic interpretation or monologue, if you could call it that. It was basically to focus on speech. So, because you're a person, you know, and you may have a flaw, but you still have to go out in the world and be who you are. And that was kind of their thing. But they used theater, the lights, you know, that we got on the stage, we threw our voices, we did the hello, all that stuff, you know. I'm just so pumped, and I'm gonna be turning 50, and I'm so excited that I can still continue as an actor. There it is, 7-Eleven. We're closer to when we can eat, because we have to get gas, because I'm running low. I'll show it to you for the film majors. There we go. got past the English majors, now the film majors. Then there'll be the radio majors, radio, television, film majors. It's gonna get gas, then we're gonna run over to the deli, and I'm gonna pick up some lunch. And then we're gonna get started. Always in my book, a little something to eat. Now, if you're gonna do a stage show, just eat fruit or eat light. I learned that from I learned it from an acting teacher. You don't want to eat a whole lot before a stage show. If you feel this different, you're an actor and you're watching, let me know. But you don't want to pig out a whole big meal before you do a stage show, because you could throw up on stage or poop your pants. All right, we go in here and get some gas, and then we'll be at the deli getting some salad, doing a compare and contrast of salad, because I'm losing weight, or I'm on a strict diet right now. And this happens to me all day long. Well, it happens a lot. Let's just put it that way. I've gone through this many times. This is not my first time to lose. I've lost many times. And that's part of the game. That's part of the game. Isn't it, Brad Pitt? Brad Pitt's from Missouri. My teacher went to school with him. Ken Stilson went to school with Brad Pitt. He was one of my acting teachers. He taught Uta Hagen. He didn't teach Uta Hagen, but he taught the technique, the Uta Hagen technique. True story. One day he went to a movie theater with his wife to see Thelma and Louise, and said, "Is that Brad Pitt?" And they said, "Yep, he's up on the movie screen." And he knew him in Missouri, University of Missouri. That's where he's from. He got in a car accident and ran off. This guy in a blue truck's acting weird. Hey, listen, if you knew that someone right there in front of you was going to make $138,000 a day, you would probably have some thoughts about him. You could sense it coming right off of him. But he had to wait for the right moment, because a lot of them still want to do it. Then they have to start directing. I gotta wait. But I'll wait.